So the objective that I chose to do is Objective 2, which states that the candidate will be able to develop differentiated lessons and instructional plans for students with special needs in inclusive classroom settings. Now, the importance of inclusive teaching is that it keeps every child involved within the classroom, and the student is no longer having that constant separation from their classroom and their peers that they would normally have if they were a special education student. Normally, they would go into a classroom with a special education teacher at the beginning of the school day and maybe see their friends at recess or PE or art class, but as far as math or social studies or reading or grammar class or anything like that, they would be separated from their class and be learning on their own. If they feel like they are involved with their friends, students are going to be more excited and willing to learn. Of course, there are some instances where children or students have attention disorders where it may make it harder for them to learn if they are in a classroom setting. But as educators, it's really important for us to teach them how to pay attention for a certain amount of time and make sure that they don't stray off subject or that they still focus. Some effective classroom practices for inclusive teaching are going to be research-based instruction, which is when the teaching methods and materials are chosen based on research from other teachers and other professionals for what they found personally works for them. There's always going to be change and variation with that because every student and every teacher is different, and what will work for one student may not do anything for another student. Next is specialized instruction, which incorporates various materials such as assistive devices that are normally not included in the general education classroom. Normally, assistive devices aren't going to be found in the general education classroom just because they were so used to special education students going to the other classrooms, so it was never really introduced into the general education classrooms. But now with the inclusive teaching, they are found there quite often. Next is intensive instruction, which puts emphasis on detail and helps the student learn through repetition. If the teacher just keeps repeating and repeating the same principles of the most important parts of what they are going over, the student will eventually catch on and find the most important aspects of what they are being taught. And finally, classroom assessments or instruction guided by student by student performance, where learning is assessed often to see how effective the teaching strategy is and if they need to try a different instruction idea or if they need to bring someone else in, see if they have any ideas. And as always, it's important to change teaching methods, styles, and techniques to cater to every student's individual needs so that they can learn efficiently and effectively as possible and learn within that general education classroom. An effective tool used to plan an inclusive classroom is the planning pyramid that is shown below. The pyramid has 3 layers, with the bottom layer being what all students should learn, the middle layer being what most students should learn, and the top layer being what some students should learn. This planning technique helps teachers prioritize with the crucial parts of the curriculum and then helps them decide what instructional interventions that they want to use and what would work best to meet these standards for each individual child. An important aspect of the planning pyramid is the point of entry. This is where the student enters within the 3 levels and helps the teacher decide what they need to do in order to move further up the pyramid from what they started at. And the point of entry is crucial because they can see at the beginning of the year what their point of entry was, and then towards the middle of the year or like winter break where they're at then, and then towards the end of the year what their point of entry would be, and just see how far they've progressed throughout the year. Seating arrangements also play a role in inclusive teaching. If the student finds it hard to focus, they'll need to be seated closer either to the board or to the teacher's desk or wherever the teacher spends most of their time teaching, so that they're closer to the teacher and they aren't going to talk or doodle or do something that they're not supposed to do, because they always have that teacher right next to them, keeping them in check and making sure that they're doing what they need to be doing. Seating arrangements can be the difference in a productive day in class and for the students a day just where they take nothing away from that school day, and then they get home to do their homework and they have no idea what they're doing, and they have no idea how to even begin on their homework because they weren't paying attention and they did not get anything out of the school day. Inclusive teaching is changing the normal stereotypes of special education students and how they are taught. They are no longer spending the whole school day in a separate classroom without any of their classmates or friends and always feeling left out. This is extremely important because now every student feels involved with the classroom and there's no longer that constant separation. Thank you.